left unattended with my cell phone and Facebook. I found a guy that restored one of these trailers like 5 years ago, and he actually lifted his floor 4 inches because he's 6'3". Well, I'm also 6'3", and I was like, man, why didn't I think of that? So, everything I did yesterday, now I'm kind of undoing it, and I'm lifting mine 3.5 inches, just pressure treated 2x4s on edge all the way around. But that'll give 3.5 more inches of headroom, and I need all I can get. So I took a few more precautions today, and I screwed on some stiff legs to hold the walls up so I can do the work under the floor, and then I'll just go and lower it all down. I lifted it basically just high enough. This side is further because that tire keeps going flat, but at least this way I can get the frame screwed in underneath, and then I can set the body down on it, and then I can run a whole bunch of screws up into the frame, which the front and rear I have to do before I set the floorboards in place. So that one's already screwed off. This one, I have the board pulled back and overlapped right now. I have to screw up from the bottom into it to hold that piece in place. And then the sides will be easy because I can just run screws up through the bottom. And then I'll just screw down from the top and should have a good solid connection to the floor. But yeah, and then I just got to come up, or I got to piece in a chunk for the door. And I'll have to do a little bit of difference on the door there to bring it back down to regular height. And then I'll have to do some sheet metal work where this sheet metal ends, which that'll be pretty easy to do. So anyways, yeah, nothing like creating more work on a project you don't plan on starting right away. But oh well, I'm in it now. Well, it was a wrestling match, but we got it up on its new frame box underneath. So that'll give the trailer actually a lot more rigidity. The frame on this thing isn't a whole lot. What I'm looking at is right now with the sheet metal all loose, and everything, there's not much side to side resistance, and I'm worried about that, going down the road, this thing trying to rip itself in half. So I'm going to rebuild the bottom section on both sides, and I'm actually going to do some diagonal bracing and get a little more support out into this thing, and that should keep or help it from wiggling itself apart. Once I get that bottom done, then that corner over there, I got to replace the rear post in it, probably both uprights, and do that. Then those two right there, those are pretty rotten. In the front, the uprights are actually okay, except the corner one, I'll be replacing it. And then the bottom tread piece, it's bad, so I'll probably rebuild both corners and the bottom. I'll reuse the three in the middle, and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to do diagonal bracing on both of those, and because this thing's going to be off-roaded. I'm not just taking it to trailer parks and stuff like that. We take these and beat them around in the brush. My other one's too far away to show you, but this is the Jeep that it's going to be going behind. So it's fairly capable, and that's my other Jeep. That's the one that pulls my teardrop. So yeah, I need strength when going off-road. That's why I'm going to be putting 35s on it. I got to rebuild. Might even have to rebuild some of the frame underneath and cut the floor to fit those. I just wanted to get a solid platform to start with. So I got a lot of work left to do to this thing. I'm going to try and keep it the same length wheelbase, but with the 35s, it might not work too well. I might have to stretch it out another couple inches. I'm going to redo the tongue. The previous owner did a lot of hacking on that. So I'll try and fix that, make it look nicer. But yeah, I'm building this thing for strength and durability. So the 1960s traveling behind a Volkswagen wasn't quite strong enough for what I got going on. Definitely not a good thing when you can remove this corner stud with a screwdriver. Well, I mean, there it is. That's the stud. Completely rotted out. That one was tucked behind another one. I didn't really notice it. And I got to look and I was like, oh boy. So now I got to go pull like 100 screws out in the corner so I can put a new piece in there and screw it all in and rebuild this corner. That side doesn't look great, but it looks better than this one. This is definitely by far the worst corner, which it sat downslope to this corner for the last 25 years in that pasture. So I get why this was the rotted one. All right, time to make some more 1x1.5s. I'm just going to be ripping down these pressure treat boards. I had some regular 2x4s, but they were so brittle. Every time you run a screw in them, it would just splinter out, and they're not going to last. So these pressure treats are a lot softer. They take a screw, and they don't split out. Plus, they're rot resistant, and they're just, I think they'll be a better way to go about it. So I'm gonna rip a few of these up and make myself some small lumber so I can start building this thing. This shows you the quality of the wood studs in there. I pulled all the screws out, and that stud, that's her condition right now. Just nasty. So I'm gonna go ahead and just completely rebuild this corner like I did on the other side. Yeah, she's gross. And then we'll have two solid corners. I got the rear rebuilt, so it's strong again. And yeah, just keep plugging away at this. But there's no way I could leave that corner. I mean, there's no strength at all in it. Everything here is just rotten, gone, nasty. So we'll rip it out and rebuild. Well, it started raining on me, so I decided to drag the little champ inside. I haven't done any of the front. I just got the rear buttoned up. Get back around over here. Just got the rear kind of buttoned up. I didn't put the corner moldings on or anything like that. It started to rain. I just wanted to get the sides on. But I like it with the 3.5-inch lift. Being able to walk in it, it's awesome. And then yeah, just got to keep going. I got to lower this door. It'll come back down 3.5 inches because it's got a big step up over the edge there. And got to cut out for the bigger tires. I got to get the other tires mounted on wheels. Then I'll be able to do a little more. But yeah, I got to fix that. Rebuild the front, and then I'm going to do all my bracing across the back still. But all that now, that was really saggy and just rotten. Everything kind of settled, and now everything's tight again, and the tin skin fits better, so I'm very happy with that. Still got to replace a few more of the studs in here, but I'm getting there. It's a slow process because this thing was built without skin on it. I'm trying to repair it with skin on it. This is not fun. I gotta try and get all this old glue sealant crap off of here. It's just flaking up everywhere. It is gonna take a while, but you barely have to do anything. It just flakes up. Some spots are bonded, but most of them are not. Of course, now that I'm on camera, oh, I'm not even on the right spot. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Yay. Just a rotten mess. It's hard to tell up here, but I mean, it's everything here is just rotted out. So I'm going to pull all these staples, all those staples, and all those staples across the front. Pull the side moldings. We're going to try and peel this whole roof off. And then I can straighten all the sheet metal, kinda. I'll probably end up sheeting across the top of the rafters in this thing to flatten it back out and give me something to screw this down to. I'll re-staple it. I'm ordering butyl tape for redoing all the corners and joints, and yeah, more of a project than I wanted, but it needs to be done. I'm gonna go through the trouble of doing all the rest of it. We gotta do this. Well, it sucks. Pulling this roof pan was a waste of time. There's no rot in here at all. Back here's even better. But there's a rafter. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I'm glad I did this. and rebuild all that now too and be done with it. I gotta get the heat, or yeah, my torch out and my scraper, heat this glue up along that seam, get it lifted off. I'm gonna do the same thing up there at the front, and then back here I already did just this little patch to see how it'd go, and it went really well. So we're just gonna roll with that, get these roof panels pulled off, and continue the repairs. Well, that was not fun at all, but I got the roof skin off all the way. You can see both sides are completely rotted out, not even really contacting back there in that corner or that corner. So the whole roof's gonna get a rebuild, and then put the old skin back on it. And like I said, I might try and put some wood paneling underneath there. I don't know if I should or not, due to the sweating. It might rot that out too, so we'll see. If nothing else, it lasted this way since 1964, so I think it can last another 60 years. But I'll rebuild all this with pressure treat lumber, and hopefully not have to worry about rot again. This is seriously ridiculous. I have not been beating on this, that's just how it looks. That is next level rot. Now, I'm no specialist, but I don't know that I'm supposed to be able to pull the nails out by hand. Doesn't seem like that's doing much. Or like this framing here. And this framing here. Like, should I be able to rip that out by hand, or is that normal? Oh, I kind of forgot I should video some of this. So the front upper corners there are completely rotted out, gone. I showed you that. So I'm actually rebuilding. There was kind of enough of a piece down there to template off of, and so I'm kind of trying to rebuild corners. Glad I picked up that bandsaw a couple weeks ago. That's nice for cutting this out. But we'll go up over here. I got a cold, so I might grunt a lot during this video because my throat hurts. But hard to video at the same time. Anyways, so there we go. The factory, I don't know how wide it actually was from the factory because it was so deteriorated and swollen. I think what I'm gonna do is just glue and screw two of these side by side on each side and rebuild this part, because the boards that run lengthwise on here, they're only an inch wide, and this is 1.25 inches. This is 5/8 plywood, so I think this will be plenty. So I'll build up both corners, and then I can start rebuilding. I need to clean all the garbage off the top of it and start rebuilding this structure, and then I'll secure it up with screws probably from the inside. To get things off of there, I actually used the Sawzall and ran underneath the board and cut a bunch of nails. You can see there's a few sticking up in the middle. Those ones were just so rotten that it pulled off. So anyways, I'll get it cleaned up, get the other side built. I got this side now. I'll get 2 more cut out for that side, and then we'll start building structure, rebuilding this roof. But at least now at this point, yes, there's still a few studs to replace in the wall in here, but that is nothing compared to what this roof is going to be. So from this point forward, pretty much, we're going to be rebuilding instead of destructing. Welcome back. So I've been just kind of pecking away at the camper as I can. Haven't been able to get too much time, but I got a couple hours last night. I didn't video. I just wanted to try and get some stuff done. So I'll turn this around and show you what we got done last night. So I got new frame. Let me back this camera up. New frame done out of pressure treat, and I just realized I forgot to get screws when I was in town. So I'll have to get some more screws, but I'm just using screws to screw the skin up to these to hold it. But yeah, I got the frame built all the way around, and I've got to reattach that piece to the back. It doesn't really do anything, but it was there, so I'm going to put it back. I'm going to run a few wires to be able to run some lights in here, and then I'm going to throw some insulation in it, and I have some 3/8 plywood to throw over the top. The reason I'm doing the plywood is so that the skin won't sag between the joists sitting out in the snow. And also the skin on this trailer is taller, hard to tell, but it's actually taller than the frame itself, and that plywood will take up that space to where this corner will actually line up better. These corners weren't lined up very good. Corners weren't lined up very good at all from the factory, so I figured if I get those lined up better, it'd be easier to seal them up, and hopefully this never has to happen again. I mean, it made it 61 years till now, and I don't think I'm going to be living for another 61 years. So it'll be the next guy's problem, and I'm using better material. So we'll get it done and get some years of use out of it, and it can be somebody else's problem in the future. All right, so to insulate this thing, when I built this shop, I ended up with a bunch of extra bats of R30 insulation. So I'm gonna just do my best to rip that into 2-inch thick pieces. And I already kind of peeled one off. That'll compress down. That looks really thick right there, but it's not that bad. But I might as well use what I've got. It's similar to what came out of this thing, and I think it'll work just fine. Yeah, that looks way bigger than it actually is. There we go. That looks a little bit more like it. So yeah, I think we'll be just fine using this. All right, I laid this first piece in, and as you can see, it'll be fine for thickness. Piece is too wide, so I do need to cut it down. None of these are a standard width. None of these roof braces, so I'll have to cut each and every piece. Those front two look like I might be able to just rip a piece in half to get those. This one's similar to those, but that one's wider. I don't really know why they did that. Doesn't really matter, I guess. I gotta cut them all anyway. I'll get them all cut and placed in here, and then I gotta get the sheets, which they're right there. I have to rip those down to, I believe it's 78 inches to fully cap from the outside edge to the outside edge. And then I'll get to screwing that down, and that'll seal the roof. I need some butyl tape for the corners. I'm gonna wrap each corner underneath the tin, and then I'll probably end up wrapping butyl tape on the roof skin and the outside of this underneath the trim piece, but we'll see. I might just end up trying to silicone that really good with Lexel. Lexel sticks to everything, so not sure on that. Either that or I can buy some like 1-inch wide butyl tape. That might be the thing to do. And if I got butyl tape in and out, that stuff I think sticks to itself really well. I don't think this thing will ever leak right there. One other thing too, I need to go look up in my loft. I think I still have some titanium roof wrap from when I built the shop, and actually some of that I might still have some that has the butyl on it. I'll take a look, but if not, I've got almost a whole roll of the regular titanium right there. Yeah, can you tell I've been working with insulation? Oh, there's the butyl wrap stuff right there too. I might use that. We'll put that on the plywood and try and seal that plywood really good so it can't rot. That way any moisture will just be between the tin and the titanium, and I shouldn't have any problems. So hopefully that works. I'll drag it out and hopefully I have enough. That'd be awesome. All right, we got our sheets cut. Just not quite enough to do this whole gap, which that's all right. I mean, this thing was never sheeted before, and that slope will shed snow anyway. So I might just try and sheet this to the middle and have a gap top and bottom. And then the whole thing's getting covered with titanium anyway. So with the titanium, it should be fine. But this will definitely stiffen things up quite a bit. The roof won't sag anymore. That aluminum there is in pretty rough shape, but I think this is gonna work all right. I'm gonna go grab some of my screws and get this sheeting all screwed down, and I'm gonna test fit the aluminum, make sure it's gonna work, and then if it's gonna work, then I'm gonna drag the titanium out. We'll get it covered and then hopefully skinned and get these roof corners buttoned up today. Other than the butyl tape, I'll have to wait until I get that. So I might just slap a few corner mold screws in to kind of hold it together. But yeah, getting there. All right, so I got this sheet screwed on, nothing else. And I got the corner tie plates screwed in. I wish I had a crown stapler for doing all this stuff, but I don't. But I got the rear box molding thing that serves no purpose, honestly. I got it folded back up in place, and looks like I'll be able to line things back up pretty dang good. It's only off about a half a hole there, so the plywood thickness didn't really lift this much, and honestly it's still dented down so much I could probably reshape, which I need to before I finish this, try and reshape this corner and then lay the whole works up. And you can see that they had stapled it before down to the crossbar that goes there. They staple that and then they overlay the roof over it with some tape between. So I'm probably gonna try and do the same thing. They went really staple happy on that. I guess I'll probably end up doing the same. Just we'll staple the crap out of it. I'll probably put some sealant underneath it when I do that. Then I'll staple down onto that, then we'll seal it again. The other layer on top of that, and I believe it was all stapled too. Yeah, it was. So I got a lot of staples to put in. That's where I wish I had a crown stapler, but it'll be all right. I'll make do with what I've got, and I'll probably do a combination of screws and staples and hope that it holds. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do now is move on and get this board here screwed on, and then I'll go to the top, we'll get those screwed on. I ended up airing up the tires too, or this tire that keeps going flat, because this thing's sitting with one flat tire. I didn't want the whole body to be twisted. Then I screw the roof on and it tries to hold it that way. So took the tension out of it, and I think it'll hold all right the way it is. So yeah, this is cool. I'm excited about this. That should make it last a lot better. Well, let me tell you something. So I was screwing the roof paneling on, and I remembered, hey, I need lights in here. So I got on Amazon and ordered some, and then I start digging through boxes up above looking for wire. So I was just gonna pre-run the wire, and I have 6 of these LED puck lights that I removed off of a job years ago and did tape lighting for them, and I kept them. They were just sitting in a box up there. So I talked to the wife. We got us a little bit of a layout and put them in. I had to pull the roof paneling back off and drill and run wires through the rafters and stuff. This one down here, I'd pulled this whole panel off, and I drilled and ran my wire through, and when I put the panel back on, that wire is this wide and the screws are tiny, and I dead centered nailed that frickin' wire and put a hole through it. And I'm glad I caught it now, because I wouldn't have been able to fix it. I'd have to pull the whole roof off to fix it in the future. And I was lucky there's enough slack where that hit that I could pull it all the way through where it goes through the ceiling there. I can cut it and splice it and be able to stuff it up in the hole. But anyways, I've drawn myself a line across this board to not put any screws in, and hopefully we don't have that problem again. But hey, it saved me 30 bucks using these lights. The other ones would have been a little bit nicer, but I don't care. These will work just fine, and using up some of the stuff that's in my shop. All right, I got the roof on and screwed down, the wiring ran. That's all good. I still got to clip all these staples and run screws in those to hold the walls to the roof. There are, well, you can probably see it down here. Yeah. So I ran deck screws through this whole layer, so it is already tied together that way. But these I think are there to keep it from ripping off going down the highway. But anyways, I still got to put these corners in. I got to chip out some more rot down below before this one will fit. The other side's sitting in place over there, so it's good. I got to screw it down. But yeah, I think I'm about to the point where I'm gonna start tossing some of the roof skin up here and see what it looks like. Alright, got all the hurricane straps screwed in nice and tight. The sheeting's all done, the corners are done there. This sheeting, the aluminum sheeting, is going to be kind of a pain in the butt. I think what I'm going to do is wait till I have the butyl tape and all that. I'm going to start at the front and try and get it stretched front to back as tight as I possibly can. And then I'll go to the sides and try and pull and stretch those and get this skin laid down. I need to take these panels back off though. I think everything actually is going to be beautiful. That corner trim will fit really nicely with this gap, so that's good. And then, oh, I need to put the titanium on this thing so I can make sure this wood stays dry and doesn't rot out. But yeah, we're just about to throw the, we're about done with the roof. Once the roof's done and I get it sealed back up, then I can put this thing outside and finish things later. I want to get it out of the shop and make some room so I can get back to work on that Jeep. Last I left off was on the steering. I lost a whole bunch of video. I had a memory card go corrupted on me, so that's why I started missing videos again, because I don't have any footage to edit. So anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna keep going on this. Not a whole lot to watch, you know, throwing the titanium on the roof. It's a matter of rolling that out and hitting it with a hammer tacker, stapling it down. I'll put this on the edges to overlap because it's got the butyl on the bottom. I'm probably gonna cut the whole roll in half. Might even try to do that on my bandsaw, I don't know. But cut the roll in half so I can weather strip basically each side all the way to the back. Alright, I'm gonna try and cut this in half. I'm gonna use a Sawzall instead of a bandsaw because it's too long to fit through that bandsaw and my other bandsaw is buried. So, I'm gonna try this. Sorry about the camera angle here. I need a third hand. That'd be great. Okay, let's see if this will work. Probably not, but it's not a quick cut, but it is cutting. Glad I used an old blade. I think I'm gonna have to throw it away. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause you guys. It's getting western. All right, so I got titanium laid down the roof here. There's about a 2.5 foot overlap in the center, so that's good. Lay that stuff down first, and then you lay this stuff out with the rubber on it, wrap it over the edge, and we will have a very watertight roof. So that's why I cut the roll in half, because I'm hoping that it's long enough to reach all the way back, but we'll see. I might have to do something else at the back here. But yeah, this should work. Well, wouldn't you know it, it's about a foot too short. But I think what I'll end up doing is just cutting a section out of it over here and piecing in what I need there. I think I'm gonna overlap this. Well, actually what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna go through and screw this side up, and then I'm gonna overlap down to the red line there, just like that. And then that way, any water that runs underneath that molding, that trim piece, will have to run over the outside edge of the metal. But I think that'll work, honestly, very, very nicely. And I'm gonna go for it. That's what makes the most sense to me, so. All right, so I got this side done. Just like I said, cut a section out of there and patched it back here. Yeah, this stuff has butyl on the bottom of it, so it bonds and sticks and makes a hell of a water barrier. I wrapped this edge. I did end up using a few staples to hold it because it was trying to peel up, but it's somewhat sticky, and once the molding is on it, that will hold it in place. So I'm gonna jump over and do the other side, and then I'll probably try and get the rear section of the roof on, and maybe lay the front up there. I'm ready for it, so we'll just see how it goes. And there she be, folks. I can't stick the roof down yet because I don't have the butyl tape, so I can't seal any of my seams. And yeah, I gotta take the heat gun, get the old rubber off of here, and I got a piece in the rear too. I ended up doing the rear a different way than they did from the factory. The factory, they had the roof underneath that back box, and to me that wasn't a real great idea. So I'm gonna butyl across so the water will shed all the way off. This front, basically every seam will lap from the front to the back, front over the back. That way all water should run off the back, so when I store this thing, I'll just make sure it leans backwards and it'll shed water. But yeah, I need to get this off and get some new butyl tape ran there. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll probably end up butyling this edge as well underneath. I'm gonna butyl everything there, and then I'll worry about getting this all fastened back down. I gotta get a few staples in the front across here to hold the roof, and then I'll lay the nose up over, and yeah, we'll get it sealed up. And then I think, because I've noticed a few spots where, you know, limbs have fallen on this in the past and things like that, I'm gonna go through and silicone all the holes that I can find, and then I think I'm actually gonna use a Flex Seal on the roof and basically paint the whole roof white with Flex Seal. So if there are other spots that I missed or I didn't see, hopefully I can seal it up good that way. But at least if there is a leak somewhere, I've got the titanium underneath, and it'll sit between the layers or work its way off the back. So doing what I can. Never done this before. I'm not a contractor, I'm not a framer, not a house builder. I've been in the trades for years, but never really done this stuff other than when building this shop with my friend. So he handled all that. I did what he told me, and I learned a little bit along the way. But yeah, I'm just trying to do what makes sense to me, and you know, I'm sure it's going to turn out fine. I'm doing 10 times more to waterproof this thing than the factory ever did, so I can't be doing too bad. If they made it 61 years, I can make it. So, all right. Well, I decided to hook up the lights and test them before I finish the roof. And those are nice. Those are going to be perfect in here. I like it. Not gonna lie, this here is handy as heck. This is a voltage reducer for running DeWalt batteries in like Power Wheels, kids' plastic cars and stuff. But it reduces you down to 12 volt, and that works nice for those lights. I might just make this whole camper run on DeWalt batteries, and I don't have to worry about solar panels and stuff. Just pack my batteries for the weekend. We'll see. Well, I decided it's time to fix the nose of this thing. So I tore the skin off, and I tore this corner out and used it as a template and built 2 new corners. This one's still in place. You can see how rotten it is. It's gone. So built those. Surprisingly, this bottom piece is not rotted out. I'll probably end up adding some blocks over there in that corner. Actually, probably both corners. And I'll add some gusseting just to be able to make it stronger. And I'm still going to do, like I said, and put some diagonal bracing. That piece is just laying there, but that's kind of what I'm going to do, is take that all the way up to the side. And same thing up to the other side. And then from there, basically continue that X down over here to this corner, tight into the floor. Kind of like you'd do on a roll cage. It won't work the same, but it will definitely help with rigidity for side to side movement. I'm going to do the same thing up here in the front. Here we go. And brace it down and up, I guess. So where this thing's going to be used off-road, or it'll still be on roads, but rough, nasty roads, I want to make it as strong as possible. So we're gonna replace all this badly rotten stuff and do some bracing, and we'll start throwing it all back together. This I think is the last piece or last part that I need to cut out rot and replace it, and then do the bracing. I replaced the rotten studs in there the other day, and that's all good. These other 2 windows, the back window was solid. I'm pretty sure this front window was too. Yeah, it's solid too, so I don't have to worry about it. It's a little bit rotten in this corner. I'll probably just scab a piece on and tie it on to where I can make sure that it's strong too. But yeah, I'm gonna get this front rebuilt and reskinned and keep going on this thing. Once I have that and the bracing done, then I'm gonna start insulating the interior. And I went and got the sheeting that I'm gonna put inside. You'll see that in a later video. But yeah, keep plugging away. All right, so I got this factory metal folded back up. Had to reshape it some. I didn't want it sticking out in there and having to deal with it. I'm just using screws to reattach it. It was stapled. Up here where these match back up, without really gutting and tearing everything apart on this, they're not completely rotted out. They are rotten up in those 2 corners, and I'm worried about them being a weak point. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of steal a cue from the factory back in the day, and I have some leftover sheet metal from the roof on my shop when I built it. This piece I had actually tried to bend over backwards to make it fit differently, and it's kind of already messed up. So I'm just going to cut it into some smaller pieces and make basically some corner gussets. I'll pull a few more screws and fold this up, and I'm going to tie this piece and this piece together in this corner and try and give it some strength that way. Run a bunch of screws in it and just hold everything together. It's free material, I mean, just because it's left over, and I think it would really be beneficial. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Got to find my tin snips, but get those pieces cut and put on, and then I can actually, I'll probably clean up that piece of metal. There's some dings and dents and stuff from rocks in the past. I did see there's one spot that has a hole in the bottom that I'll have to try and tap that back shut. There's, oh, I got hiccups, sorry. There's that hole there that I'm not gonna be able to do much there. I'll probably end up just using a piece of this sheet metal on the back of it and then trying to basically blend it in with silicone and just plug the hole. I think it's from the propane tank is what the problem is. The propane tank they had in there was too tall and it hit. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go find my snips and make some corner pieces and start screwing this all together, tying it in. And I think that is actually gonna be about the end of the rebuild on the frame of this thing, other than adding in bracing, which I used up a whole bunch of my pieces I was gonna use for bracing. So I'll find some more pieces. But that pressure treat lumber that I was using, after I ripped it all the other day, some of it, where I had it leaned up at an angle against the wall, it warped really bad. And so I think what I'm gonna do is probably try and use those pieces, cut them in shorter lengths, and make all of my gusseting and bracing out of that. All right, so I just cut I don't know, 6-inch wide piece off of there ish, and tapped it on the tongue there with a hammer just to flatten it out real good. Then I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna force it up in here so I can tie. There's, it's kind of hard to show you, but there's the upper frame and the lower frame. So I'm gonna try and get screws into both the upper and the lower here and down this leg to tie everything together and up there, because that's like one of the worst spots. So I want to make sure I can get some strength built back into this thing. All right, so I did two pieces there just to be able to get into better, more sound wood. The rot is just, oops, the rot's right there on the end. So getting screws back there into the better wood, it's that's a whole bunch of screws that that wouldn't have been there to add strength at all. So I'd say we definitely gained on that. I'm gonna do the same thing to that side. I won't video anything there, but I'm happy to have this part here done. Get that part done and get the skin back on the nose of this thing. If I can get that done tonight and get the trim piece back on, good thing I have these Jeeps here to hold all my camper pieces. If I can get that trim piece put back around the nose of this thing, that'd be awesome. Thing is, I'm gonna have to take it back off to paint the trailer anyway, but I kind of want to reassemble everything while it sits outside till I can, actually finish this project. So yeah, this is just phase one of the project, getting it sealed up and kind of restructured to where it won't fall apart. I have no idea how this thing made it here. I hooked onto it with the trailer. I hooked the trailer onto the Jeep, pulled them both up on my big trailer and hauled it home that way. I have no idea how this body stayed attached to the frame. There was nothing but rot everywhere. I honestly think that all the garbage that was in this thing actually held the body down to the frame while I transported it. And I'm lucky for that, because that would have been a mess picking this up on the side of the highway.